All right, today we're diving into something really cool, an engineering document that lays out a piece of tech that could literally change the skin of our cities. It's called the Hybrid Water Wall, and trust me, it's designed to completely redefine what a building can even be.
So I want you to start with this question. Just think about the buildings all around us. They're mostly concrete, glass, steel. Pretty static structures, right? They just kind of sit there. But what if they could be more? What if they could actually participate in the world around them, and help solve problems instead of just taking up space?
Well, that is exactly what this hybrid water wall is designed to do. It's a building facade that cools itself with zero electricity, harvests its own water straight from the air, generates power, turns waste into fertilizer. Oh, and yeah, it glows in the dark using its own living lights. This isn't some sci-fi movie concept. It is all laid out right here in the engineering specs.
Okay, so why in the world would we need a wall that does all of that? Well, because our cities are up against some major challenges, and this wall is literally designed to fight back.
And these are problems we all feel, right? Cities crap heat. That's the urban heat island effect. So what do? We crank up the AC, which eats up a ridiculous amount of power. And at the same time, our cities are incredibly thirsty, constantly straining our water supplies. This wall is a direct answer to all three of those big interconnected problems.
So let's get into how it works. We'll start with the two most fundamental things it does. And honestly, the most incredible part is that they happen passively. And by passively, I mean with zero energy input.
The magic really starts with a principle called radiative cooling. The wall is coated in this special film that acts like a one-way heat mirror. During the day, it reflects the sun's heat away from the building. But at the same time, it lets the building's own internal heat pass right through it, radiating it out into the cold of deep space. It's basically pushing heat out 24/7 without needing any power at all.
And the result of this? It's pretty amazing. The surface of this wall can get at least 3 degrees Celsius cooler than the air right next to it, all without using a single watt of electricity. For the side of a building in a hot city, that is a huge deal. The building is actively cooling itself down, fighting that city heat right at the source.
Now this cooling effect opens up another incredible opportunity. You know how a cold glass gets condensation on a hot day? It's the same idea. The wall's chilled surface pulls moisture right out of the air. Then, a special coating helps those little water droplets form and run down into a tiny collection system. And just like that, the wall is harvesting its own water. It's a 2-for-1 deal, all for free. Every single night, the system is designed to pull in a minimum of 0.3 liters of water for every square meter of wall. Now, I know that might not sound like a ton, but imagine that scaled up across an entire skyscraper. We're talking about a serious amount of clean water literally pulled from thin air while the city is asleep. But that passive cooling and water harvesting, that's just the baseline. That's just the beginning. The wall is designed to be a platform so you can add on these other modules that take its capabilities to a whole new level. This slide really says it all, doesn't it? A normal brick wall is basically a liability. It just sits there, soaking up heat and doing nothing. But the hybrid water wall, it's a productive asset. It doesn't just sit there, it cools, it harvests, it generates, and it even talks to you.
So, one of the coolest add-ons is this special kind of solar panel. It doesn't just generate electricity, it also captures the waste heat that normal solar panels just throw away. And it uses that captured heat to power a tiny system that takes wastewater from the building, like urine, and upcycles it into a stable liquid fertilizer. It's this perfect closed loop for power and nutrients, all run by a tiny computer brain on the back.
Okay, but perhaps the most futuristic and, just plain coolest feature is how the wall tells you that it's healthy. It doesn't just have some boring little LED light. No, it has a living indicator. I'm going to read this directly from the document because it's just too good. It says, the wall incorporates, quote, a living strip of engineered cam succulents that emit low-level bioluminescence proportional to tissue water content. So in plain English, there are living, genetically engineered plants embedded in the wall that actually glow.
So, how does this work? Simple. These are special succulents. The brighter they glow, the more water they have and the healthier they are. It's basically a living check engine light for the whole system. And the most elegant part is what they call the Dew First feature. The wall is programmed to use the very first drops of dew it collects each night to water these plants first, making sure its own little status lights stay healthy before it sends the rest of the water to the main storage tank.
And this isn't just for looks. It's not just a gimmick. The document actually calculates the return on investment.
The gentle light from these plants is bright enough to replace the need for electric pathway or facade lighting. According to their numbers, this living light system can actually pay for itself in just over 2 years. How cool is that?
So, you've got all these complex, interconnected systems running. How on earth do you know it's all working? Well, the wall actually generates its own daily report card to prove it's doing its job. It's all based on an open data standard for monitoring and reporting.
And here it is, the report card. Instead of a bunch of confusing code, you just get this simple health check. You can see right away cooling is at 4.2 degrees, awesome, better than the target. Dew harvest is well over the minimum. Power generation, check. And look down there, 96% of the succulents are alive, and yep, they're glowing. It's a super simple, at-a-glance way to see that the whole ecosystem is thriving.
So, when you start putting all these pieces together, the passive cooling, the water harvesting, the power generation, the nutrient recycling, the living indicators, you move way beyond just talking about a piece of technology. You really start to see a whole new vision for what our buildings could be.
Because ultimately, this isn't just a better wall. It's like a Swiss Army knife for the city. It's a power plant, a water harvester, a cooler, a fertilizer factory, and a light source all rolled into one and integrated right into the building's skin. It's a technology built for resilience, for urban survival.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. This technology proves that our building materials can do so much more than just, hold up a roof. It completely reframes what we think is possible. So the real question it leaves us with is this: what else should our buildings be doing for us? What other amazing functions can we weave into the very fabric of our cities?